Welcome to the Human Error News Network. When something goes wrong in modern medicine, we usually face a choice: find a doctor to penalize, or examine the system that allowed the mistake to happen. Rarely can we do both. Today, we are looking at a catastrophic medical oversight, where a human physician and an artificial intelligence system directly contradicted each other. A patient arrives at the hospital with a suspected brain issue and undergoes a computerized tomography, or CT, scan. A CT scan is a standard imaging test that uses a series of X-rays to create detailed pictures of the inside of the body. The hospital's artificial intelligence software analyzes the resulting images and correctly highlights a hidden brain bleed. The reviewing radiologist evaluates the flagged scan, disagrees with the software's assessment, and declares the results completely normal. Because that internal bleeding goes untreated, the patient suffers irreversible brain damage. The patient's family responds by filing a complex medical malpractice lawsuit against the doctor. This specific legal battle forces hospitals to answer a difficult question. If a doctor misses a diagnosis that a machine caught, is it the fault of the individual physician or the institution that dictated how they interacted with that machine? Researchers from Penn State and Brown University used this exact incident to conduct a massive mock trial. They wanted to see exactly how jurors assign blame when AI is involved in a medical error. The mock jurors were presented with identical medical outcomes. The only variable that changed was the doctor's workflow, specifically the number of times the radiologist evaluated the images. This chart shows the first workflow, scenario A. The AI software flags the case as abnormal. The radiologist reviews the images a single time and then incorrectly concludes there is no bleeding. Look at the resulting liability. Nearly 75% of the mock jurors decided the radiologist failed their duty of care to the patient. Now watch how the chart shifts for scenario B. The radiologist reviews the scan before seeing the AI input. Then they receive the warning flag from the software, and finally they review the scan a second time. They still make the wrong call. Despite the exact same catastrophic injury to the patient, jury blame drops to 53%. Modifying a single operational step, requiring a doctor to look at the data twice instead of once, cuts the legal risk for the physician significantly, even when a critical error occurs. Those liability numbers reveal a heavy psychological burden placed directly on the shoulders of the doctors. Physicians are acutely aware of the professional cost of disagreeing with an algorithm. If a doctor actively overrides a computer's warning and turns out to be wrong, a jury is primed to see that choice as intentional negligence. This constant threat of litigation creates a strong incentive for radiologists to simply agree with the AI's assessment, regardless of their own clinical judgment, just to avoid a courtroom. When doctors practice this kind of defensive medicine, the financial and emotional costs are passed entirely to the patient through unnecessary follow-up imaging, causing heightened patient anxiety and inflated healthcare bills. When the fear of lawsuits drives clinical decisions, the software stops acting as a safety net. Instead, it becomes a liability trap that compromises both the physician's expertise and the patient's well-being. To prevent these traps, hospitals must rethink how they deploy these tools. Our expert panel has identified 3 systemic solutions to protect medical staff and patients alike. Getting this right is critical. Right now, the fear of legal liability is the primary barrier keeping hospitals from investing in AI technology that could actually save lives. The first requirement is establishing highly structured workflows. Administrators cannot simply install the software and walk away. They must dictate the exact sequence of how and when a doctor interacts with the algorithm during a diagnosis. Second, hospitals need to mandate the double review process. Physicians must be required to evaluate the patient's data using their own expertise first, consult the software's recommendations second, and then conduct a final review of the data before making a call. Third, the medical system must transparently understand error rates. Both medical staff and potential jurors have to be proactively educated on the machine's known margin of error. Recognizing that the software is fallible prevents blind trust in its output. Balancing innovation with safety requires a shift in perspective. We have to stop hunting for an individual to blame and start designing clinical systems that anticipate and learn from failure.